My name is Dave Dame. I'm the Director of Accessibility for Surface at Microsoft. I was born with cerebral palsy and I use a power wheelchair. Throughout my whole career, I've always utilized technology to be able to enable me to achieve more. I always like to say, my cerebral palsy doesn't hold me back. Rather, it's the environment to be able to accommodate my disability that holds me back. I was like everyone, what do I want to be when I grow up? This year when I turned 50, I started thinking about how do I want to leave the world when I'm no longer here? So I decided to pivot my career to focus on accessibility and to work with Microsoft to help others like me achieve the life that I've been able to have, hopefully with a lot less effort. So when I came to Microsoft and we could focus on really creating a great experience, and what I mean by creating a great experience is, let's simply not build products that people with disabilities can use, but make sure we build it with a great user experience so it'll be the technology they choose, whether it's our devices, software, or accessories, to be that whole ecosystem to allow them to be able to create, produce, and just be. I always like to say, we're all going to be disabled someday, just some of us beat you to it. So in designing and building for somebody that's disabled today, it's actually designing and building for your future selves. We all have a different degree of limitations. We're all in some sort of way have to deal with obstacles that, maybe we can compensate for differently because we don't have as severe of challenges. But remembering that empathy, remembering that understanding ensures that, because really what building for accessibility means is trying to build for everybody, trying to make sure we're not excluding anyone out, to be able to enjoy and embrace the things that are out there. There's an invisible tax that people with disabilities gotta pay. At Microsoft, we're looking at using AI to really reduce that disability tax people pay. So what we're looking at is using AI for things like voice to text, for people that might have mobility challenges of typing, for captioning, so people can get real-time captioning in their Teams calls, so everybody can be included. And the great thing about captioning, it's not simply just for the deaf or hard for hearing, but it also helps people where English might not be their second language, allowing for more inclusive meetings where everybody can participate to their fullest. And that's why at Microsoft we choose to design with people with disabilities and not for people with disabilities. We can't predict what everybody needs and wants, but we really work with the disability community to really understand the empathy, the challenges they face, so we can see those challenges at a new eye, to be able to look at the whole journey of how they interact with technology before, during, and after. When I discuss technology, I'm thinking about the whole ecosystem, whether it's devices through Windows itself or accessories, trying to create that ecosystem that starts when the user decides to create or be productive, all the way to they complete that task. It's not easy for everyone. I used to have to use a fork just to open up my laptop before I even began to think about being productive or creative. Recently, we released the Surface Adaptive Kit that really creates a simple solution by putting langers on the device to make it easy to open. People might not think of that as something dramatic, but when you remove the effort or the burden that somebody with a disability has to do to open something up, you allow them to really use that technology in a natural way. The best people that know what they need for accessibility are those that use it. So by hiring with people with disabilities, They're really getting them closer to the product makers and the engineers to be able to extend that empathy and understanding across the spectrum. So that way when people are building it, they get to see for the type of users they got to think about, not the users that they might only see during parts of the day. I've worked at a lot of companies. I've been part of a lot of teams, but I haven't always felt that I belong to the organization or belong to the teams. Just because I can get in the building doesn't mean I feel that I belong in the building. So inclusion is really allowing me to bring my full self, to feel safe, to bring my cognitive diversity in, where I can bring that unique thing that you hired me for and still feel comfortable and confident enough to remain, to stay that unique. What most companies can do to improve inclusion and accessibility in their environments is make it purposeful, be proactive, get it ready ahead of time. I remember talking to certain senior leaders and they're like, oh yeah, we'll build accessibility when we hire somebody with a disability. And I'm like, how are you going to attract people with disabilities if you're not ready to accommodate them from day one? I wish we could give one playbook or one blueprint that would satisfy all. But what we gotta do is try to be proactive, try to be purposeful, and always try to get better. People have always asked me, Dave, how would you describe your most perfect accessible environment? To be honest, I can't. I don't even know what perfect would even look like, but I do know what better could be. So the point is, do with what you know today, but continuously strive to be better. And hopefully as we get better and better, maybe I can imagine what perfect could be. I would like to tell people with disabilities to not hide their disability, not feel ashamed of it. Realize that their disability is going to afford them a different perspective and a different set of skills that other people won't. Because what I didn't learn until later in life, I spent so much time trying to mask, what my disability couldn't do, instead of what my disability allowed me to see and do. So I would really tell those younger people with a disability, don't try to hide it, don't try to disguise it, embrace it. Embrace what it's made you become. Embrace what it's done to make you unique. Embrace it to be able to see the world differently than any other one in the world can see. Because it's in that unique perspective you're going to find your place, in a place that might not look like it's ready for you now, but it eventually will be. International People with Disabilities is a day where we decide to focus uniquely on people with disabilities. The thing we got to remember is our disabilities aren't on just today. Our disability spans every day. So in using a day to highlight and enlighten it, I hope people will remember the things they see and learn today, to make sure to be aware of there are people of different abilities all around, and really begin to think about it beyond this day. Make it, International Persons with Disability Week, month, year, and lifetime, right? The day is a great start. The day is a great focus, but it shouldn't begin or end on this day. It should be something we do throughout.